Greetings friends and fellow cigar bonks guitar enthusiasts. Del Puckett here, and in this video here I'm going to talk about and show you and demonstrate and answer many frequently asked questions concerning my fret slotting jig using this Mighty Mite table saw. Over the years I've done many videos, and maybe some of those will show up here in the sidebar. But anyhow, in this video here, I will try to get as much information as possible into this video here, so you can check it out. So right off the bat here, so I got this saw a couple of years back from Harbor Freight, and I guarantee you it's made in China. The name of the company here is called Chicago Electric Power Tools. It's a 4-inch Mighty Mite table saw, and it runs at 14,000 RPMs, has 1/2 inch arbor, 120 volts AC, 60 hertz at 0.9 amps, and then its item number 61608. And of course I have it mounted here on a little table here. I have everything tightened down as tight as it'll go, because I don't like the table rocking back and forth, and this thing here has to be really tight. In fact, I have to like get some pliers and really tighten that thing down so that there's no wobble in this tabletop. And I do have it, the wire that goes through this hole in the wall down underneath there, so I can Now, there's a lot of complaints about this particular motor, that the motor is not strong enough and that it bogs down. And I will agree. If you're using very hard wood and you are making long cuts, this thing here definitely will bog down. I've developed a few tricks, and one of the tricks is to go really fast. Whenever you make your cut, you don't want to go slow, because that just bogs it down. So I just let the engine rev up as fast as it'll go, and then I just go fast. So that's one of my first tips. But what I've done is I've actually built this jig that goes over the top here, and then I take my fretboard, or fretboard to be, right, and then using my double-sided sticky tape, I tape my template onto my fretboard and then cut away. I will show you this here up close. So this thing here has got these little lips here on both sides, and they hug the tabletop here, and you can see it fits right over the top, and there's no play back and forth this way. There's no play this way. It only slides forward and back, and there's very little jiggle here on it. There is a little bit, and that's just because I've used this thing for years and years and years and years and years, and have not retrofitted it. I haven't had any problem. But what I do is, whenever I do cut, I make sure that I'm not, there's no angle to it, and I go straight. So this is very useful for me, because what it does is it allows me to have a very uniform fret slots. In other words, all of my fret slots are the same depth, and they're all at the same straight perpendicular angle. There's no angle, there's no tilt this way. So what that does is that, for me, that reduces the amount of variability. I don't know if that makes sense, but lowering your variability is a good thing. Okay. So anyhow, let me give you the dimensions on this here. Hang on one second. I'm getting my ruler. Okay, so this here in inches is 10.5 inches wide. That doesn't matter. You can make yours wider or not as wide. Basically, I did it as wide as the table plus the width of these guys, right? So the table here on this guy here is 7.5. So I did 7.5 plus 1.5 inches on this side, 1.5 inches on this side. And if you're good at math, that's 10.5 inches. Okay. And these here are just the 1.5 inches, same thing here that you build your fretboards out of right here, or your necks. And as far as the thickness of this thing here, you could be any thickness you want on this guy. I just built it just enough to grab, and that's just glued on. And then this gap right here, that's the same thickness as the tabletop, so that there's no up and down play. It's very snug up and down. And then I also put a little rail here, and again this is just the same 1.5 inches, and it's screwed onto the top here, and then I have this slit right here that goes down all the way through, just barely past right through here. And I adjust the height of the saw so that it sticks up just barely enough to cut me a slot in my fretboard. All right, so I'm going to give you a side view here so that you can see what I'm talking about here. And then I'll give you also an underside view so you can see it underside here. Okay, here we are with the side view. And I also wanted to point out here that, again, it doesn't matter, but I'm 10.5 wide here, and I am, it looks like 13, almost 14 long. And again, that doesn't matter at all. That just happens to be the size that I picked. And this here looks like it's 3/8, maybe a 1/2 inch thick. This is a 1/2 inch thick plywood, maybe a little bit less. It's a little bit less than 1/2 inch. And again, that doesn't matter. Unless you want to copy this one exactly, that it totally doesn't matter. But as you can see here, I've got this is your tilt adjustment. If I was to loosen this guy here, I could tilt this guy, the table, up and down. So I got it pretty much level. It's not exactly 100% level. That doesn't matter, but it's tight. You can see it's actually tilted down here a little bit in the back here, but that doesn't matter. But like I said, it is tight, and there you go. Now it's flat. But this one here, you got to tighten this guy. Really torque that thing down so that you don't have any tilt. Okay, so I have the height of this guy adjusted so that I have just enough of that blade sticking out to cut my fret slot. All right, so let's cut a fretboard. Actually, before we cut the fretboard, I wanted to show you the underside. And you can see how this little lip just kind of hugs. And you can see the little slot there. It hugs on both sides. And it just rides back and forth on that thing. Brilliant! So now I just get my double-sided sticky tape. And I have this one already. I get 2 of them. And this is just to hold everything in place. Now this is a maple fretboard. And I've got my template taped to the maple fretboard. And here we go. All right, this is only going to be a 19 fretboard. And I'll show you here up close and personal. One thing I did want to point out here is, see how I have two lines on here? What I do is I put my fret line on my template directly in the middle of those two lines, and then I cut. And I do that for every fret. Put it right in the middle of those two lines and then cut. The next one, put it right in the middle of those two lines. Exactly in the middle. This is precise, right? You got to get it exactly right in the middle and then cut. So I did want to point that out because that is very important. Here is the finished product. And again, all of these fret slots are the same depth. And they're all perfectly straight. Okay, so I'm not going to take this thing apart to show you how to put the blades on because it's very, like I said, I have it set up perfectly and it's taken me a while to get it set up perfectly. So if I took it apart to show you all that stuff, then I'd have to set it up again and you're just going to have to figure out how to set it up yourself. But I will say this though, that it is very dirty. I just cleaned this before cutting those 19 fret slots, and now you can see there's a whole bunch of brand new sawdust all over again. So this thing here is a dust making machine, no doubt about it. I did want to show you, this is the name of the company that I get the saw blades from, and that's their website there. And here's the part number and whatnot. I'll put all this information in the video description below. There's different styles of saw blades. Okay, now this one here has got the multiple teeth. I don't know if you can see all the little teeth on there, the very edge. 310 teeth. But the thing to point out here, I don't know if you can see it in here, is the kerf. The 0.023, and that's the thickness of the blade. The thickness of the blade, which is the same exact thickness as the fretting saw. Okay, these fretting saws are the same thickness as this guy. So if you have a fretting saw, you can do the same thing. Now the blade that I have on there is actually has less teeth on it. It's got more bigger teeth, which is fewer teeth. This one here actually has 110 teeth, but it's the same kerf. So this is actually more of an aggressive cut. And look at that psychedelic. 1/2-inch arbor, that's the hole here in the center. And you're gonna need these, what they call collars. And you're gonna put a collar on either side of this thing here, one on this side and one on this side. And that just stiffens this thing up so this blade doesn't wobble or bend or torque. These collars here, support collars. Can you read that? If I put it like that, it gets washed out in the light, but the support collars. And so you're going to put one on either side of your blade, and that just stabilizes it. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions, be sure to ask them in the comment section below. I do have a Patreon, and you can get the information for that in the upper right-hand corner of my YouTube channel. I do have t-shirts available, and they'll be below this video as well. So if you like these videos, be sure to comment and subscribe and like and share and all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video.